What is good? Another Sunday. Hopefully, everybody's having a good Sunday. Thanks for joining the channel. I go by Osiris. It's Middle Maga. Again, I'm talking about race, but I want to be productive with it. And I just want to show an example of how when you pull away the exterior of race, you can get to a real issue. Now, in this topic here, we're as a society, we're not getting there. But I'm going to show how we can get there. And this applies to everything. It applies to the populist right and left. I'm not just going after the left. And it applies to Trump getting hemmed up potentially too. If you peel away the racial aspect, a lot of people hate Trump simply because they think he's a racist. If you peel away that stuff, at the core is a common interest among all citizens. But let's go to a TikTok video. And there's this battle on TikTok that's been going on for quite a bit where black people feel like these dances are theirs, like they own it or they started it. And white people who don't dance as well most of the time, which is actually true, it's in my opinion, don't dance as well, are taking the routines and blowing up off of them. And this video represents the side of those who really are upset about it.
So have you seen or attempted this viral dance? Well, what is it and where does it come from? Welcome to another episode of How Everything on this app originated with black people, where we talk about how most of what we know as Gen Z culture is just a whitewashed version of black American culture. So this dance has been a part of two very viral dance challenges with millions and millions of views, the Her Way challenge and the No Love challenge. Now, a K-pop stan account went viral for calling it a silly little TikTok dance and saying the original choreography came from a K-pop group. But from posts like these and many similar comments, it's obvious that many, if not most of the people doing this challenge on TikTok have no idea where or who the dance came from. But many black people familiar with HBCU culture recognize these dance moves from majorette dancers. In fact, this choreography was put together last year in November by Jordan Williams, a 19-year-old from Alabama who was a majorette dancer from high school. So start giving her dance creds. The style of majorette dancing seen in these videos can be traced back to black communities in the South, particularly at black colleges, going back to the 1960s. When asked to describe the difference between cheerleading, which the choreography has been mistaken for, and majorette dancing, the creator of the dance, Jordan, said this: "A term that we use in the black community is milking. You just look real smooth and it comes easy for you. So I feel the difference is you don't want to look stiff or hard when you're dancing.
Yeah.
You want everything to flow."
True.
Now, this past decade, the TV show Bring It brought an awareness to majorette dancing across the nation. And just a few months ago,
That's why I can't dance. To make it flow and look smooth is really the trick.
a black majorette dancer named Princess Ling started a majorette dance team at her predominantly white institution, sparking a debate online on whether or not we should gatekeep this tradition, and if so, how. But I'm curious to know your thoughts on this traditionally confined
Notice the term he used. Should we gatekeep this?
dancer named Princess Ling started a majorette dance team at her predominantly white institution, sparking a debate online on whether or not we should gatekeep this tradition, and if so, how. But I'm curious to know your thoughts on this traditionally confined style of black dance being copied by people around the world outside of our culture. Comment what you think and follow for more.
No, well, actually, I will comment on what I think. I think that I did comment, and I said my initial comment was, "What do you want, my nigga? A cookie?" It just the tone from the video wasn't one of gratefulness. It wasn't one of thankfulness. It wasn't one of education. To me, it was everything in Gen Z is whitewashed black culture. Well, a lot of it does come from, you could call, black culture, but that's a disrespectful way to look at it, and it's a sad way to look at it. I think it's pathetic. The friend of show, real Nico House. I think Nico House is excellent. We see the world differently, but so we're going to have some disagreements. But I want to make sure it's clear. I don't even do enough shout outs for myself, but I'm going to do a shout out for real Nico House. Nico House, world-renowned political-ish talker, founder. He's got his own MCSC network, down with Convo Couch and them. And he's now with Hotspot. They're doing some stuff there. I haven't seen anything yet, but they had an announcement that they're doing something special. So keep an eye out for this dude. I think he had a lot of charisma and is a very, very smart dude. He replied and said, what I think he's getting at is how a lot of white Gen Z kids get actual deals and opportunities by taking something black people did on the same app, doing it worse, but getting benefits because white people are more marketable to other white people. And he says this is problematic. Believe me, Nico House is based. Believe me, I know that one is a little off. We just see the world differently, so that we don't need to let that, to me, separate us from when we see a lot of other things the same way. My reply to that is, it's a gift to the world, like jazz, reggae. Italians gave us pizza. Do I need to bend my knee? Do I need to find the nearest Italian to bend my knee to every time I have a slice of pizza? I believe the Greeks, I think classical music came out of Greece originally. Instead of being proud, grateful, and maybe offering tips, he did offer a little bit of tips with the smoothness, but offering tips to those terrible dancers, it comes across as bitter and sad. And even beyond that, I would say that your culture, what you've got from your culture, is a gift from God to be shared with everyone. So I don't see a problem there. If you've got beautiful things in your nature and your culture and you share it, as long as you're not like Sam Brinton stealing the Tasmanian woman's designer clothing out of her suitcase and wearing it, I think it's a good thing to share it with the world. Here's where, and there's even debate about, well, where did this come from? He talked about majorette dancing. Well, majorette dancing, let me go back. Somebody replied to me and gave me a good little history lesson. And majorette dancing originated as a carnival dance in Rhineland, Germany, where young women who performed this dance were the highlight of the show. When majorette dancing became to the U.S., the South quickly picked it up and put their own spin on it. I don't know what's true. I love the history lesson, but you can go back and say, oh, do you think you really made this up? You might have added your own spin to it, but you need to pay homage to who? The Germans, potentially. And that's in this throwback, the history of the drum majorette. So I think that'd be a good discussion to have, but let me get to the substance. My substance here is going to go with peeling back race. And that's why I appreciate having this conversation with people like Nico House, because I went back and forth with him and I was like, ooh, I found something. I found something that is really here. Because Nico House is saying, I don't know. Nico House is saying, we don't know if white people are being promoted in the algorithm, basically. How is that being distributed? And I said, look at this. The left thinks the algorithm could be racist. And then the populist right thinks the algorithm could be controlled by the CCP to promote gender theory. You know what? We are never going to agree on that. We don't know either one's right. I'm just not as concerned with this one because I don't see it as a problem like they do. And they don't see the gender theory as a problem, believe it or not. They support it for a large part. The core issue we agree on. The algorithm should be public property on these town square apps. You allow them to take up the town square. There's only a handful of them that have power, that have millions of people on them. They are virtual town squares. There should be no hidden algorithm at all used at all on the platforms. We both agree. You peel back the race, we can have an interesting discussion on history. You peel back the race, we can have an interesting discussion on should these algorithms be public.